Hi, Aaron. Thanks for coming to the Spotlight interview series. Very welcome on this program. Obviously, my name is Reza Khodadoust. I'm a business coach from Action Coach. And I'll just hand it straight over to you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do, what is the company specialize in, etc.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me. So I'm Aaron, of course, and I am the founder of a company called Mad Media. We're a digital marketing agency, and we specialize in the likes of Facebook and Google Ads, and more specifically in the local business sector in terms of home improvement, solar, that type of thing. So we help those companies get more leads, more clients every single month.
Okay, great. And so what is it that you would you say as a business you're good at? What is your unique selling point, if you like, in terms of the service you deliver?
Yeah, in terms of the service that we deliver, specifically for our clients and the niche we work in, I mean, we know what works. We've tested a million different funnels, a million different methods, a million different, targeting strategies. We know what works in this industry. And I guess that is what makes us slightly different. I mean, having worked with many different clients in this industry, um, I've had the chance to speak to them about different companies they've worked with to get more clients and whatnot, to help them with the client acquisition and outreach and marketing and that type of thing. What separates us is we solely focus on this industry, so we know exactly what works for them, and it's just a copy paste strategy from client to client, from client to client, because we know it works. And that's essentially it. That's what makes us different in our space. Also, in a general sense, we're very lean. We don't have an office per se. Everything is done online. We're digital in that sense, right? So yeah, those two things put together put us, I guess, ahead of a lot of the competition in this space.
I notice you have a global outreach. Is that what it is in terms of workforce, etc. And your work?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we exactly. We have workforce in many different countries. Yeah, many different countries. Majority of our clients don't even come from the UK. So yeah, we work all over the globe, and we have people who work with us from all over the globe.
Oh, amazing. So, obviously, you've been in business for, I guess, fairly short period of time compared to some of the more established businesses, but you've grown quite a bit in that time. What do you attribute that growth to? What do you think that's?
Yeah. I mean, so number one, it's understanding that firstly, every business has a purpose.
Yeah.
Once you realize what problem you can solve, you can scale that easily. Okay. So firstly, we had to figure out what niche do we want to work in, what problem can we solve in that niche, and then it's very easily scalable from that point. So understanding that every business has a purpose, and we're not just in business for the sake of it. We're here to solve and help people solve problems. And once you know that, it's very easy to just duplicate and scale from there.
Okay. So understanding your target market and what it is that they need and addressing that. Yeah, that's really good.
Exactly.
And so, if you were to do it all over again, start from square one, um, would you do anything differently?
Are we talking about setting up the exact same company?
Yes, exactly the same company or a different company. I mean, from your
Okay.
perspective, if you were to do it all over again, were there mistakes made along the way, things that you could do better, things that you wish you had done? There might be nothing, but if there isn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, I'm not going to say it's been smooth sailing the whole time. There's things we would have done differently for sure, for sure. I mean, from the offset, understanding my target market and having a niche would have been a major priority at the start if I had known how important that was. Um, so yeah, that's the main key. The main point is understanding that who are we trying to help and what problem are we solving. And if I knew that at the start, I think we would be leaps and bounds ahead of where we are right now. But that's not a concern. I'm glad it's happened the way it has, because I guess I wouldn't be in the situation I am now if it didn't.
Sure, and you got there right in the end. So I guess one of the other questions that's quite interesting is that a lot of business owners that I come across that are setting up businesses, or have set up businesses, they obviously spend a lot of time within the business, and they sometimes may struggle with finding that work-life balance. How do you manage the time? How do you make sure the balance exists?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be totally honest with this one. At the start, I was all guns blazing, 100 miles an hour, and I think that's the way it has to be at the start anyway. Until you're at a point where you can say, or you can start delegating certain activities or certain things inside the business to other people who may be better than you. You have to go all in at the start. There's no way. There's no way else. When the hardest part of a flight is when the plane's taking off and landing, right? So let's take the takeoff for example. The plane's working very hard to take off, but once it's in the air, it's smooth sailing. It's in cruise control. It's all good. So that's the same situation here. You have to work very hard at the start to get everything going. Get the wheels moving, get the plane off the ground. So once I did that, it was a lot easier because I was able to, bring on people to help out in certain areas and so on. And since then, it's not been a struggle to have a work life balance. I mean, I'm an avid gym goer. My work doesn't get in the way of that at all ever. I may move it to a different time, but it's not really ever going to stop me from going. So yeah, at the start, you have to be conscious that there is a lot of work to be done to get the wheels moving. There's a million businesses out there that don't succeed. So you need to do what others aren't doing essentially at the start. Once everything's going, you can take your foot off the gas a little.
Yeah, okay, that's very good. And I guess I'm going to move on to the question about your team and employees. And so the question I have for you is that what kind of qualities do you look for in your employees, and how do you make sure that you have that positive work environment and everybody's kind of productive? What's yours?
Sure. So yeah. So first and foremost, can they do the job? That's number one. Do they have the skills to do the job? That's number one, because if they can't, sure, it'd be nice for them to be teachable, coachable. But number one, it's can they do the skills? Then two, we're looking at attitude, of course. I would rather have someone who is, say, a 7 out of 10 skill wise and a 10 out of 10 attitude than someone who's 6 out of 10 attitude and 10 out of 10 skill. So yeah, I mean, obviously have the skills, but attitude is super important. And in terms of having a productive work environment or a positive work environment, we let, should I say, we let the people that are working with us do what they need to do. They don't have set schedules per se. As long as you get the work done in the allocated amount of time or allocated time, I'm okay and fine with how much or little you do, as long as it gets done or when it gets done, So there's a lot of freedom in that sense. So yeah, and I believe that's the best way to do it. You don't want to be super regimented and be like an army leader, but more so let them, I guess, have a sense of responsibility over their own work and time.
Okay, yeah, that's very good. That's very interesting. And I noticed that obviously you come from a financial background.
Yeah.
So and you've been in business for a while. What kind of advice would you give business owners about managing their finances, of the business?
Yeah, I mean, in this sense, I can only talk about people who would be in a similar industry to me or similar kind of online business. I mean, obviously, if you're setting up a huge tech firm, it would be different, right? But because for me, there wasn't many overheads to start the business. I mean, the ongoing costs are not that high either. It's very lean. Managing finances was fairly easy. It was fairly easy. But when I did need to bring people on board, obviously, managing the finances became a little bit more of an issue. I mean, it's just understanding your costs. As long as you understand what all your costs are, you can get by fairly comfortably, and then obviously go from there. Don't overspend, of course, but if you need to, know that and be confident that whatever you're spending the money on can bring back a lot more. So has a positive return on investment.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's very good advice. And where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you think the business is going to be? Where is it that you wish to be?
Yeah. Is this from a 2-point perspective? Should I say business and personal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So in the next 5 years, I don't want to be in the UK. I grew up in a sunny country, and I want to go back to a sunny country.
Okay.
I think very shortly I will probably be moving to the UAE, Middle East, Dubai. So yeah, and obviously move everything, all the operations over there as well. In terms of where we want to be in a business sense, one of the main leaders in the industry for our niche specifically, and have a huge presence in that sense, and be the people that everyone goes to, and also be the people that people in the same industry are coming to for advice. So have that much, I guess, authority in the industry and the niche that it's not going to be a problem to move forward in terms of getting new clients and whatnot. I don't have to do any more outreach. Everyone comes to me, that type of thing. But also be the company that other companies are coming to for advice and consultative, help and that type of thing.
Okay, great. To be a company of choice in your industry. That's great ambition to have for the next 5 years. And so is there any events, anything that you want to talk about, anything that you want to put out there to people, any offers, anything that might be of interest to the business community?
Sorry, what do you mean exactly?
So do you have anything running at the moment? Do you have any exhibitions, any programs of that site that you currently?
Oh, yeah, I see. No, in terms of exhibitions, no, nothing going currently. I guess we're just trotting along. We're just making everything happen. But yeah, in terms of getting the name out there in exhibitions and that type of thing, no, we don't do that.
Okay.
We don't have anything in the future in our plans for that anyway.
Okay, perfect. And anything else that you want to add to any of the questions that I've raised? Anything that you want to kind of?
Yeah, I think I missed out something that's fairly important.
Sure,
So, in terms of getting everything off the ground, I just want to touch on that point again. From when you're starting up, people need to start focusing a little bit more on income producing activities, things that are going to move the needle. For example, figuring out what your logo is going to look like, that's not an income producing activity. That's not going to move the needle. You need to start focusing on things that are going to bring cash flow into the business, going to bring more clients, going to bring more money into your pocket, whatever it may be, anything that's going to push the business forward. As I said, focusing on a logo isn't really an income producing activity. So you need to look at what you're doing day in, day out, and maybe journal it, write it down, and point out what is actually an income moving activity or an income producing activity and what isn't, and do more of what is and less of what isn't.
Really, really great advice. And thank you for obviously your time today, and I wish you the best of luck for the future, and for your 5-year plan. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you very much for having me.